Hello and welcome to the Inosi Podcast, your space for insight, innovation, and impact. I'm your host, and I'm thrilled to have you with us today for a thoughtful episode that just might change the way you think about innovation. Before we dive in, please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast and like this episode if you find value in the ideas we share. Your support helps us grow a community that is passionate about knowledge, creativity, and transformation. If you're ready to explore what it really takes to build innovation that lasts, that matters, and that drives meaningful change, this episode is for you. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a powerful framework developed by Haitan Rachman, one that has been used in education, public policy, technology, rural development, and beyond. It's called the KE3 Framework. And at its heart, it answers one vital question. How can we turn knowledge into innovation that creates real, measurable impact? Let's begin. We live in a time of accelerating change, an age shaped by data, technology, and uncertainty. Disruption is no longer a buzzword. It is the daily reality of how we live, learn, work, and evolve. Amidst this turbulence, the need for innovation has never been more urgent. But here's the truth. Innovation is not a spark of luck. It does not come from inspiration alone, and it cannot be sustained through guesswork. True innovation is built. It is designed through a deliberate process of engaging with knowledge, understanding human needs, navigating context, and responding with meaningful action. And this is precisely where the KE3 framework comes in. KE3 stand for knowledge exploration, knowledge enrichment, and knowledge exploitation. These are not just steps. They are lenses that guide us through the life cycle of innovation. From asking the right questions, to integrating diverse insights, to delivering real-world results. KE3 is a strategic compass for knowledge-based transformation. Let's walk through each phase together. The journey begins with knowledge exploration. Imagine standing at the edge of a forest, about to venture in. Before you take a single step, you need a map. You need to understand what lies ahead, what's been charted, what remains undiscovered, and what challenges may arise. This is what exploration offers. In the KE3 framework, knowledge exploration is the act of systematically uncovering the knowledge landscape that surrounds your problem or opportunity. It invites individuals, organizations, and innovators to pause and ask deep, fundamental questions. What do we already know? What is still unclear? What patterns are emerging? What does the evidence suggest? And crucially, what assumptions are we making? Knowledge exploration is not passive research. It is active inquiry. It involves mapping knowledge assets, research papers, statistical data, local wisdom, expert interviews, field observations. It means engaging with users, listening to community voices, reviewing past efforts, and identifying gaps in understanding. Picture a group of young researchers investigating the impact of climate change on agriculture in Southeast Asia. During the exploration phase, they study climate reports, government policies, indigenous farming practices, and economic data. They conduct interviews with small-scale farmers, ask about water access, crop cycles, and yield variation. Through this process, they're not just gathering information, they're constructing an ecosystem view of the problem. This phase creates space for reflection. It helps us avoid jumping to conclusions or applying one-size-fits-all solutions. The more deeply we explore, the more accurate, relevant, and focused our innovation becomes. Now we arrive at the second phase, knowledge enrichment. If exploration is about discovering the pieces of the puzzle, enrichment is about putting them together. This is where innovation starts to breathe. This is where ideas gain shape, depth, and coherence. Enrichment means synthesizing insights from multiple domains. It means combining academic theory with lived experience. It means connecting data to stories, logic to empathy, and design to purpose. During enrichment, we ask, how do different perspectives relate? What have others tried? And why did it work or fail? What new possibilities arise when we combine technical, social, economic, and cultural lenses? Let's return to our agriculture example. After gathering data, the researchers notice a pattern. Farmers with access to mobile weather apps tend to adapt planting schedules more effectively. This insight doesn't live in a vacuum. They enrich it by exploring behavioral science, how people make decisions under uncertainty. They analyze financial models to assess affordability. They partner with local organizations to understand language and literacy barriers. Through this process, a concept begins to form, a locally adapted, voice-based weather advisory service delivered via mobile phone, supported by community mentors. That is enrichment in action. This phase is deeply collaborative. Academics bring theory. Entrepreneurs bring product design. Government agencies bring policy frameworks. Local leaders bring insight and trust. When all these contributors enrich the knowledge together, innovation becomes not just smarter, it becomes wiser. Then comes a third phase, knowledge exploitation. This is where vision becomes reality. All the insights, patterns, and concepts that have been explored and enriched must now translate into action, because knowledge without application is inert. Exploitation is not about extraction, it's about activation. It's about converting learning into value. At this stage, innovators move into implementation. They develop prototypes, build platforms, launch programs, or design new policies. They test, refine, and adapt their solutions based on feedback. This phase includes building digital tools, piloting new service models, or scaling up community-based interventions. Back to our example, the weather advisory idea becomes a prototype. It's piloted in 2 villages. Feedback is gathered. Challenges arise, signal strength, airtime costs, language variation. The team iterates. They partner with telecom providers. They introduce solar-powered phone chargers. They train village facilitators. What started as an abstract idea becomes a tool that hundreds of farmers use each season. Yields improve, risk decreases, and knowledge becomes impact. The KE3 framework also emphasizes scalability and measurement. Innovation should not stop with a small pilot. We must ask, can this be adapted in other contexts? How do we know it's working? What metrics matter? What stories emerge? The exploitation phase is both a test and a launch pad. And just like any good innovation cycle, what we learn from this stage will inform the next round of exploration. So, why is KE3 such a powerful approach? First, it offers structure without rigidity. It provides a clear process, but is flexible enough to adapt to diverse domains: education, health, environment, business, governance, even personal learning journeys. Second, KE3 is integrative. It dissolves silos. It brings researchers and practitioners together. It encourages dialogue across disciplines, sectors, and cultures. Third, KE3 is impact-oriented. It doesn't stop at ideas. It demands action. It values results, not just outputs, but outcomes that truly matter. And finally, KE3 is inclusive. It is accessible to students crafting a thesis, to policymakers crafting reform, to startups launching a product, to educators designing curriculum, to communities building their own futures. Across the globe, KE3 is already making a difference. In schools, it is used to design challenge-based learning projects that connect students with real-world problems and encourage creative thinking. In public health, it guides the development of community nutrition programs by combining field research, health data, and local knowledge. In local government, it helps village leaders co-create data-driven development plans with citizen input, moving from top-down policy to participatory design. Even at the personal level, KE3 empowers students to structure more meaningful capstone projects and researchers to design socially relevant proposals. As we come to the end of this episode, let's return to the big picture. We are living in a time when knowledge is abundant, but wisdom is rare. Ideas are everywhere, but meaningful action is scarce. In this context, the KE3 framework offers us a way forward, a way to think clearly, act responsibly, and build innovation that lasts. KE3 helps us explore wisely, enrich deeply, and exploit responsibly. It is more than a process. It is a mindset, a commitment to bridging what we know with what we do, and doing so with empathy, purpose, and collaboration. So whether you're an educator, entrepreneur, policymaker, researcher, or change maker, I invite you to reflect on this framework. Consider how it might shape your next project, your next strategy, your next conversation. Because innovation is not just about being clever. It's about being committed to knowledge, to people, and to impact. If you're interested in learning more about KE3, attending training sessions, collaborating on research, or developing knowledge management systems based on this framework, we would love to connect. Please reach out to us at Haitan at Rachman at inosi.co.id. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Inosi Podcast. If you found it meaningful, please subscribe to our channel, like this episode, and share it with your colleagues, students, or community. Until next time, keep learning, keep innovating, and keep turning knowledge into change. This is the Inosi Podcast, where ideas become action